Marlatt and Gordon in 1985 described the cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, model of addiction relapse, which helps explain how relapse to substance use can happen. By interrupting this process at any point, it can lower relapse risk. The first stage of the model is a risky situation, which is where a person's sobriety is placed at risk. This can include external triggers, like people, places, or things, or internal triggers, like thoughts, emotions, or distressing physical sensations. These situations test a person's ability to maintain their recovery. This then leads to stage 2 of the model. This is where a person is at increased risk of relapse, because the coping skills they have feel inadequate. They're in a risky situation, but do not feel they have the coping skills they need to address the situation effectively. This feeling of overwhelm can create high anxiety and distress, which leads to the next critical stage, where low self-efficacy begins to take hold. Stage 3 involves a cascade of thoughts and feelings that fall into 3 categories. 1. Low self-efficacy, which is when you feel like you are not able to do something. High self-efficacy means you feel confident that you can make it through a stressful situation in a healthy, positive way. Like the little engine that said, "I think I can," as it traveled up a steep mountain. Low self-efficacy, though, is where belief in oneself starts to crumble. They might think, "This is too much, I don't know what to do." This occurs because the person does not believe they have the tools they need to address the risky situation effectively. This then leads to category number 2 of stage 3, high negative emotions like frustration, anxiety, worry, sadness, guilt, shame, etc. On the other hand, sometimes people feel they relapse because of positive emotions rather than negative ones. But negative emotions are still likely involved in these relapses too, because although the person is feeling positively, they might be worried that if they do not use, then they will not have as much fun, or that others will judge them, so they use. This negative emotion of worry still contributes to the relapse, even in an enjoyable situation. Often, people in recovery, though, can find themselves in these risky situations and feel overwhelmed and unsure about how to cope, but still often find a way to get through the situation without using, as long as they don't fall into the trap of the third category of stage 3, which is positive expectations of use. This is when a person has thoughts like, "Using will help me cope," "I've earned it," or "It will help me fit in," which makes using seem attractive. This is the last step in the relapse cycle before a person uses. This 3-part combination of low self-efficacy, increased negative emotions, and positive expectations of use is what ultimately causes the person to relapse. After that initial relapse, the person is now in stage 4, the abstinence violation effect. This is where people often feel guilty for having used because they violated their abstinence. They beat themselves up, but this feeds back into their negative emotions. Also, the brief high of the drug provides short-term gratification, which feeds back into the positive expectations of use. This increase in negative emotions and positive expectations of use then prompts the person to use again. They become trapped in a cycle of using, then feeling guilty, then using again, and feeling guilty. Instead of thinking, "I blew it, might as well keep using," which is addict thinking, the person should think, "I know better than this. Let's reach out to my support system to help me get back on track." Interrupting this 4-stage process at any point can lower relapse risk. Avoiding triggering circumstances, for example, can lower risk in stage 1, the risky situation. Developing new coping skills or relying on social support or a recovery group can help avoid problems in stage 2 of feeling like your coping skills are being exceeded. Using coping tools for cravings such as positive self-talk and reminding yourself of the problems of using can lower risk with the 3 categories of stage 3: low self-efficacy, high negative emotions, and positive expectations of use. There are strategies we can use at every step of the process to lower relapse risk and stay grounded in sobriety. This knowledge is power in the journey of your recovery.